Thank you. Basically just getting used to and getting to know what the library's like, staff members, and anybody that stops in, come say hi. I'll see what you're doing. And also, we're going to be doing pumpkin painting this Saturday. Okay? But all right now.
Thank you. All right, that brings us to the agenda. The first thing on our agenda tonight is the audit report.
Hey, I'm going to walk you through the audit report. Just a brief overview. I'm going to turn to page 2. The first full paragraph under opinions is an unqualified opinion, which is the highest opinion you can render as an auditor. It's a clean report. And we'll keep moving on to page 4. Go over the financial highlights. The assets of the township exceeded its liabilities at the close of this fiscal year by $3,316,216. And this represents an increase of $145,231. And of that amount, $1,915,575 is unrestricted, and they be used to meet government's ongoing obligations to citizens and creditors. During the year, the township received $1,244,803 in revenues and incurred $1,099,572 in expenses, which resulted in a net increase in net position of $145,230. And of the total expense, $207,790 related to the business type, that would be the campground, and the remaining related to the governmental activities. At the end of the current fiscal year, the unassigned fund balance of the general fund was $339,677, or 90% of the general fund's annual expenditures.
99%?
99%. The state recommends 50%, so the township is carrying a healthy fund balance, unassigned fund balance. We'll go to page 6. Second to the bottom line in the chart there, this paints a good picture from year to year, from last year to this year, of the increase in unrestricted net assets. And then on the following page, the third line from the bottom of that chart shows the change in net position of the governmental and business type activities from year to year as well. And then if you want to turn to page 12. I want to point out the cash and cash equivalents of the governmental activities is $1,549,757. And then at the second to bottom, the unrestricted net position was $1,662,023. And for the business type, the campground, it was $253,552. And then on the next page, page 13. It's similar to an income statement. Revenues minus expenses. Change in net position is at the third to bottom line. You'll see the $137,403 for the governmental activities. And for the business type, it's $7,828. And then on the next page, page 14, I'll point out the unassigned fund balance of the general fund at 99%. Is $339,677. And then if we turn to page 16, similar to another income statement, revenues minus expenses. The third bottom line, you see the change in fund balance was $61,440. 46 in the general fund, which is the main operating fund of the township. And then if we go to the last page of the report, the schedule of findings and responses. Cook had one finding, which is typical of a smaller township or village, is the preparation of GAAP, or governmental financial statements, which is the year-end adjusting entries that we do for accounts payable or payroll. Just to keep that in mind. And then if there's any questions, I'm trying to answer those now.
I just have one.
Sure.
It would be back on page 9.
Okay.
When you go to page 9, the increase in the fund balance for the general fund was $27,000.
That must be in your report.
Okay.
We get that correctly.
Okay, my only question was, I think we moved some other funds over into the general fund.
Oh,
with
yes,
that
that's
postal.
correct.
That's why that one page says 61. But in reality, from bringing money in this year and spending money, we underspent by this 27,000.
Correct.
That's why I want to make sure the board knows that if we didn't underspend by 61,000 this year, we underspent by $21,000. And this is, we talk about this money in a lot of these meetings, and the reason we talk about it next year, if we can come in and do the same thing, we will use that excess money for some of the projects different board members want to do. They want to get some different equipment. We need it at the campground and for the leaf collection, different docks down at the boat ramp, some improvements to the boat ramp. We're going to set up projects with what we come in under because our fund balance is now 1 year. 1 year's expenses is what's in our savings account in essence, right?
Yeah.
So that we can do this again and put some money away, we can spend a little bit of it next year. But I want that number to be very important and everybody to understand that's the number we're dealing with, not the 61,000.
And if you want to turn to page 44, you can see which funds were transferred into the general fund. It's the building fund, transfer station fund, the postal fund, and the capital improvement fund.
Yeah,
And that's a new governmental accounting standard.
Yep.
Because they're primarily funded through the general fund.
right. So those amount the difference between the 27 and
Yes.
the 61.
Yep.
So we didn't underspend by 61, we only underspent by 27. That's what I want to make sure everybody knows and understands. The other money we had, it was just in different funds. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. Just want to make sure I had that right. Any other questions? Any public questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We received a letter from Thomas Polgart, welcome to the meeting tonight. And it was in concerns of some music and stuff that went on at the Griffin. And you asked to come in front of the board, Tom, and we'll take any time you need or try to answer questions you have or whatever you want us to do here.
Okay. Let me just review
Yeah.
quickly. On September 2, there was a concert at the Driftwood, and the language was obscene to the extreme. I don't want to go into that at all, but and so